On October 23, 2025, the Public Safety Divisions of the Town of Chatham conducted a unified response drill. These video recordings document the drill, including the initial safety briefing, a highlight reel, a shoreside search, and a simulated search debriefing by the Fire Chief, Harbormaster, and the Chatham Police Department. This was only a drill.
Hello, my name is Jason Holm. I'm the Harbormaster for the Town of Chatham. Today, I'm joined by Lieutenant Sarah Harris from the Chatham Police Department and Fire Chief Justin Tavano. So we're here today to talk about a drill that we conducted in mid-October regarding 2 overdue kayakers in Chatham. The drill was basically born out of an actual incident that happened back in August. It was a pretty complex call that resulted in a very swift response and a favorable outcome. Although things went really well with that particular incident, the likelihood of things that could have potentially went wrong was extremely high. At that point, Chief Tavano and I had briefly discussed conducting a drill later in the year to explore how the response would have been had some of those things went the other way. As a result, we decided to conduct a drill on October 23rd to replicate the scenario from August.
So the drill itself focused on initially it was reported as 2 overdue kayakers on the east side of Chatham. The fire department, we deployed a marine asset, which we keep at the station on a trailer, as well as our drone operators to get some aerial imagery. We also placed some EMS providers who are also certified as water rescue technicians out on the Harbormaster vessels.
The Harbormaster Division deployed one of our H-27 safe boats as well as a shallow water skiff to the search area.
And to make this a realistic drill, we took the information that we got from the fire department, which was preliminary at the time. So we deployed as we would for any standard operating procedure for a water emergency and began our response from the land side to be able to start checking and gathering more information for both the Harbormaster and for the fire department, along with assisting in the search. At that point, we would then call in more officers to assist as the event got larger and more lengthy. Then we would enhance our services just like the Harbormaster and the fire department would.
Yeah, so to make the drill as realistic as possible, we used actually 2 fire department members. They're water rescue technicians themselves. We put them all in all the appropriate protective gear, and they actually deployed out in kayaks and put themselves in the water and on the shore to give us real people to search for. The drone works with infrared technology. They were able to go up, get the drone in the air, and actually look for the heat signature coming off of real people. Those live victims also used their personal vehicles and positioned them at landings so that the police department assets had their boots on the ground, were able to go look, identify vehicles and license plates and tie them to the people that we were actually searching for. Sometimes when we train, we're already on site of where the training site is. This gave us the opportunity to actually drive to the area that needed to be searched so that there's a little bit of response lag built into the drill to make it a little more realistic.
And to keep it realistic, to really present the drill factor to the officers, we didn't know where the kayaks were missing from. We didn't have any information until it came into dispatch. They were only advised that it was a drill. So we didn't know if the East Cruiser, the West Cruiser, the supervisor, who was going to have to respond or who was going to actually start this investigation. So again, just telling them that it was a drill and that my dispatcher knew there was a drill. They didn't really know what it would entail or what they would have to do. So we got to see how they acted, what came about, and what we can learn from it.
Anytime that we get a multi-agency response, as we mentioned earlier, communications is always key. So it was interesting to see how each department kind of unfolded with their response. Initially, whenever each division or department's notified, they're all operating under their own standard operating procedures or plans. And that's great. So every individual department between fire, PD, and Harbormaster were all initially responding according to their own standard operating procedures. One of the things that kind of was highlighted very early on was that there was a lot of people talking on the radio and not as much coordination with the search efforts, which is to be expected, especially in the early stages of a response when multiple agencies are involved.
Initially, people kind of spread out. They kind of canvass a big wide area. The deputy harbormaster went to one area, the deputy fire chief went to another area. Sometimes trying to communicate by radio or by phone can be a little bit inefficient. The most accurate information isn't being shared. We activated the Emergency Operations Center. We had our communications coordinator from the town there, Shauna Neely, and we kind of simulated some emergency notifications that got pushed back out to the community.
Very quickly, you could see very clearly the response efforts just taking a complete 180 and very smooth responses, very good coverage, and as a result, we started locating the victims relatively quickly.
So as part of the drill planning, we did have some injects built in. The first 2 victims were found very quickly. So one of the injects that we had planned was to put one of them back out there and have one of the victims say there was a third person missing as well, so that resources were able to be redeployed to different areas that hadn't been searched yet, and ultimately they found that third person pretty quickly as well.
As the fire chief and the harbormaster had said, they had set up this drill to be dynamic. Things changed as the information received. Different resources were brought in at different times. Once we came together face to face and did the unified command, how it did operate better. So it's a great reminder on how these departments need to continue to work together. And this was great practice to be able to put that in place, and a great reminder of that.
We don't necessarily always know what equipment the other departments or divisions have. We kind of know, but until you actually flesh those out in a drill, you really don't know. So getting to see that kind of unveil, very difficult to keep hands off during that and just watch it happen. But the benefit, I think, was definitely there in the other members of our divisions and departments being able to kind of run one of these for themselves and kind of see for themselves why it's so important to initiate that coordinated response at an early stage.
So the police department has a lot of tools that we can use in these type of situations. We have certified operators to work with the fire department and their drone. We do have the 911 capability, one, to alert the town that, hey, we're missing people and looking for them and ask for their help, and two, also to track cell phones if these people, in this situation, the kayakers did not have cell phones on them, but to do tracking availability for people and vehicles.
Harbormaster Division has several personnel with extensive maritime search and rescue experience, including heavy weather, surf rescue. Some of the assets we have that complement those skill sets are 27-foot secure all-around flotation equipped boats. One of them that was involved with this drill features installed infrared camera systems, as well as one of our shallow water response skiffs that's capable of getting into some of the more shallow interior areas.
The fire department has a rigid hull inflatable vessel. 14 members of the department are assigned to our water rescue team. They have specialized training as boat operators and as water rescue technicians. We also have a drone team, which we have 4 members who are pilots on. We also have members who are assigned to the Barnstable County Technical Rescue Team, and we have access to that county team to be able to come in and support us locally. I think one of the big takeaways for me from the fire department perspective is, each one of our agencies works really well. We all provide exceptional service to the community, and we've all worked well together in the past. There's just always room for improvement. We all have new faces coming in the door that don't all necessarily know each other, so being able to get them working together collaboratively, it's when there's a real incident, they're going to show up. They're going to have a familiar face now. They've done that networking during training, and that always leads to a smoother operation in the future.
Approximately 90% of our marine incidents are incidents that we handle internally with our department. You probably have another 10% that involve outside agencies or other departments in town. And as Chief Tavano alluded to, it's crucial to kind of play those out in these types of scenarios for the face time of getting everybody there, B, to also really showcase kind of what each department's capabilities are, where their expertise lie, to be able to best deploy assets in one of these situations. So, and this was one of 100 different scenarios that could possibly happen. And so it's nice to kind of see what each department brings to the table, what equipment they have, what specialized expertise they have in order to respond to a myriad of different incidents.
This incident was a great reminder, and I appreciate the Harbormaster for bringing it forward to us, that we all work together, we work independently, but this reminder that we can all do it together, how to get it done, needs to be done more often, and we will do it more often with other scenarios and other examples.
When you actually run through a scenario like this, it helps to kind of flush out some of those things as far as, jurisdictional restrictions or expertise in different areas. And I think that that's a great opportunity for all of us to be aware of what each does and how they can fit into the overall emergency response for the town. That original case went so well. The PD did such a great job landside. Justin and I were talking together, and we realized that we're not really doing these types of drills, especially at night. People's loved ones wait in the hope that they're coming home before dark. And then inevitably, one of us is going to get the call right before dark that somebody's missing. And at that point, you have to activate everyone relatively quickly, utilizing very little daylight. The speed in which someone needs to be located can rapidly be increased based off of those conditions deteriorating as the sun goes down.
We took this drill as a great opportunity to respond together, learn what everybody else is doing, and most importantly, I think to not duplicate our efforts or overstep what each other was already doing, and that we're using all the resources that we had available, whereas the police department has some of the resources. We forget that the Harbormaster has theirs and the fire department also has theirs. So to bring them all together, I think that was a great practice on this and a great reminder to us as the police department. And we can bring it back to our officers to remind them, hey, we're not working alone. We have our other agencies that we're working with on incidents like these. And I was going to touch on a little bit, like you said, the reminder just to the public to call us early and call us often so we can use all our resources as best as possible. We don't mind being called out to help and then solve it earlier. Don't wait long to call us.